Every company needs an accountant.
Take opportunities, be open to learning, have fun.
Top 5.
Yeah.
Wow, I actually have more insight on accounting. Welcome into the very first episode of Accounting Plus's new podcast segment. Today, we will be talking about the intro to accounting. Could it be for me? Joining us, we have Isaiah Bowie, who is a senior tax accountant at E&Y, and Angela Cantuño, who is a senior associate at KPMG. Isaiah, let's just get right into it. I would like for you to spill the tea on your interests and your hobbies outside of accounting. Does it have anything to do with accounting? Is it something completely different than accounting? Just go ahead and spill the tea.
All right, so my hobbies that I have outside of accounting, I like to travel a lot and go and spend time with a lot of my friends. Earlier this year, I went to Tokyo for the first time, so I learned Japanese for 100 days before I went to Tokyo.
Wow.
And after that, I went to Tokyo, and then I went to Chicago and had a couple events and stuff with other friends who live in different cities. So I really enjoy traveling and being able to spend time with people who I care about. The stuff that I do is not related to accounting at all, but accounting has allowed me to be able to find time to do those things.
Yeah, and what makes it so important for you to have these hobbies and interests outside of accounting? Like, why is it important to do that?
I mean, like having these hobbies outside of accounting helps you kind of de-stress, you know? So when you're working all day, especially when you start working as a full-time professional, you might think about work a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So when you have other things that aren't related to it, you're able to be able to find time to kind of like take your mind off of things and kind of relax whenever you are working on things that are stressful.
Yeah. What was it like when you first got into accounting? When you got into accounting, did you know right off the bat it was for me? Did it take you a little bit of time for you to actually know, oh, this is the perfect job for me?
I got first introduced to accounting at high school. I was very fortunate to have an accounting class. I know not many have that opportunity to take accounting in the high school, but then again, you can just keep your eye out, like your math classes.
What about you, Isaiah? Was it love at first sight, or was it like a slow burn kind of thing?
It's a mix of both. So you had accounting classes in high school. In high school, I didn't even know what accounting was, to be honest. I went to college, and I remember people were like, oh, we got to take accounting 101 because we're in the business school. And I'm like, okay, well, everyone told me it's hard, and so I'm not looking forward to it. So my second semester, I go take accounting, and I just happened to I did a good job in the class, and I was like, man, it's not like what everyone else said it was.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, let me look into it. And so I talked to career services, and I talked to a few other people, like some students who were like a year older than me, like some sophomores. And I was like, okay, sounds like there's a lot of opportunities. Seems like it's a pretty good skill set. And I feel like I made a decision. I was like, you know what? Let me change my major. I did well in one class. Maybe I can do well in the other one. So I had an amazing teacher assistant who explained the concepts very well.
Right.
And I think it's very helpful when you have someone who can kind of explain things.
Yeah.
So I would say it was an aha moment after I passed the class and I got a good score, and I was like, man, it's not as bad as I thought it was, not like everyone said it was, so let me just go down this route and see where it takes me. And then I learned that there's a lot of opportunities for internships, there's a lot of job opportunities in the future, and it's something that that is needed in general for businesses.
Angela, let's just talk about adulting. Like, adulting can seem like bills and, hard work. What are some ways that you unwind? What are some ways that you recharge so that way you can continue to keep pushing through every single day?
I like to connect with my friends, my high school friends I still keep in touch with. None of my friends are in accounting, so that's kind of my escape on how I see how they have stresses in their life, how they're busy, on their experiences, because when you get busy at work, you hang out a lot with your team.
Yep.
Right.
But it's good to have your friends outside of the field and see that there's more to life and other stresses outside of the accounting world.
Okay. So break it down. What is accounting?
So essentially accounting, when I think of it, I think of historical data that you get from companies, and that it's a way to try to figure out more information using that data. So accounting is a broad term for, tax, auditing, which, you're trying to make sure that the numbers are correct for companies. And then there's also a consulting portion that is, just a wide range of different things. And then within all those categories, there's subcategories within accounting. So it's kind of hard to define accounting specifically, but I would say like the easiest way to say it, in my opinion, is the language of business.
Yeah.
And then there's different areas within it.
Yeah. What would be your definition of accounting in a nutshell?
I was talking to Zia how heavy this question can be.
Yeah.
But in a nutshell, it's like you have every company needs an accountant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the job security is there.
Yeah.
You think there's so many fields in accounting that you don't even think it's accounting.
Right.
You don't even need an
true.
accounting major sometimes. We have so many different majors at an accounting firm. You'll see CEOs of companies with a background in accounting.
Yeah.
It's like there's so much opportunities just from that one major.
Yeah,
Right.
I totally agree with both of you guys. So you gave me a little bit about your journey. You're giving me a little bit about your journey. Can you guys give me an example of like a failure that you guys went through, and how did you guys overcome that?
The first year I started working full time, it was 2020 during the pandemic, and I got put on a client. I think it might have been 2021. It was like our busy season, so it's when all your clients, I'm in tax as well. It's when all your clients need like their tax returns done. So I got put on a client that had no manager above me, and there was like no one to like help do the work. And the manager that was above me pretty much was like, "Hey, you got this." And so I'm new to the firm, and I didn't have it. And so I kind of like felt like I had to learn on the fly. And I would say that was more of a failure just from the fact that, I'm new, didn't really know the process.
Yeah.
And pretty much it's my first time really taking charge of a client and an engagement.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that failure, I think, ultimately turns into a positive, to a win, just only because, that's experience that, you get that experience, now you know what not to do.
Yes,
You know how to kind of turn it around and figure out how can I use this to make sure that my next engagement is a success.
Yeah. And how did you stay motivated during that season?
Well, I stayed motivated by just telling myself, hey, I'm new, like, like I can't,
Fake it till you make
like
it.
I can't really. They know that like there's no way that I'm gonna have the knowledge as someone who's had multiple years of experience, and so I kind of trusted the fact that the work needed to be done.
Yeah.
And I'll just try my best.
And that's exactly what you did. And look at you today.
Yeah,
Literally.
I'm ahead of that.
Exactly.
So,
Far ahead.
yeah.
What about you, Miss Angela?
I still remember my early days in my career, so I've learned recently the terminology is like unwritten rules. So there's a lot of rules that you're not told to. For some people it might be obvious, but then for other people, if you're not used to the corporate culture in the office, there are these unwritten rules that you should really follow. It's going to affect your career. So like to overcome it, I have a mentor, and then they guided me to like how they manage their career, and then I try to follow the same steps.
Yeah. Can you highlight the importance of having a mentor, and do you just have one? Like, is it multiple? Like, how's that for you?
No, it's definitely way better to have more than one. If you have only one, sometimes it depends on like how you can manage your relationships. But I do have multiple mentors now, different positions, different diverse backgrounds, different areas. I'm in tax, doesn't mean I need a mentor in tax. It could be in any area, really.
Yeah. So, Isaiah, would you say, like, when it comes to mentors, do you have a mentor? How did you find your mentor? And just give a little bit of insight and advice on that.
Yeah, so when it comes to finding a mentor, I would say I've had multiple mentors. Now, I wouldn't say I would formalize it as a mentor, but like looking back on it, it's like, hey, like they helped me kind of like navigate the waters. And so like in my head, it's like kind of like a mentor to me, because you've taught me things that, or shown me things that I might have not known before. So I would say from that aspect, it is kind of different from like, I never thought of these people as mentors, but they ultimately they're mentors.
Yeah.
And so kind of like what you said, they don't have to be in tax. They don't have to be in accounting, really. They could be just someone who you think or that has your best interest at heart.
Yeah.
So someone who has your best interest at heart, who you trust what they say, is someone who I think you can see as a mentor.
I love that. So we're going to take a little twist here.
Okay.
We're going to debunk a couple of myths here. There's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to accounting. What are some misconceptions that you hear that you feel like is crazy?
Accountants are boring in general.
Yeah. Well, let's actually touch about that. Tell us a little bit about How do you feel about accounting? People saying that accountants are boring, and what your take is on that? Are accountants boring? You boring? Do they you live a boring life?
I don't think I'm boring.
What are your misconceptions? Any misconceptions that you've heard?
The boring one, or like I guess all accountants are good at math as well.
You can do that. Okay, that's a good one. So are all accountants math whizzes? Let's talk about that. Let's just set the record straight. Is accounting all about numbers? Are we just crunching numbers? What's the tea?
No, yeah, friends that come up to me, they think I could just do math in my head.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where math was. We all know what Excel is.
Yeah.
It's like you can just turn. We're fortunate enough with how advanced technology has grown.
Yeah.
From Excel to all these other softwares that takes care of all the math portion. Now it's more on just logistics or the regulations.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you don't have to be strong math? No.
It's only the simple math, right?
Right. It's like multiplication, subtraction, addition.
Angela, we use accounting every single day without even realizing it. Can you share with us some real-world examples that tie back into accounting that you could just think of on top of your head?
First thing that comes to mind is like, let's say you're going to a restaurant with your friends. You got to split the bill. Then the first thing my friends come up to me because I'm an accountant, right? But like everyone can, everyone does this. You got to split the bill. You got to split the taxes, split the tip, You got to calculate the taxes. But it's like all in the check. So once you understand, like that's everyday accounting.
Yeah, that's good.
You're allocating, maybe you got to allocate someone had a more expensive meal than somebody else.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't want to split right down the middle.
Yeah, you don't want to pay that.
Right. Yeah.
But let's say like bills and everything. It's like in school they don't teach you much credit scores or
Right.
taxes and property, house bills.
So why do you guys think that accounting is such a fulfilling and valuable career?
Fulfilling. So it's like how you're giving back, right? It's like how you're giving back to the world. It is a corporate world, right? Mm-hmm. And like if you look at high level, companies are giving back on like depending on which clients you have and like how that client's giving back to the world. You're helping that client fulfill their purpose.
Yeah.
And then on an individual, personally, this past semester, I was adjunct professor.
Oh, yeah.
at an undergrad school where I graduated.
Oh,
Thank you.
Professor.
high five.
Yeah, professor.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
So I was able to give back to students that way. It's like try to help motivate them.
What about you, Isaiah?
So I think accounting is a fulfilling career simply from the fact that, like you mentioned earlier, it's needed everywhere. Mm-hmm. So when you become an accountant, depending on the type of accounting, you are something that a company has to have, whether they like it or not. Yeah. So to me, it's fulfilling to know that I can come in and solve problems. I can go in and say, okay, X is happening. Like I can find a solution for Y, essentially.
Yeah.
And I think that's pretty fulfilling, being able to solve problems.
Yeah, I love that. Great answer. What are some skills that are essential that some people may not be aware of when it comes to accounting?
I would say the number one skill is communication.
Yeah.
So as long as having strong communication skills and being able to express ideas and thoughts and solutions can take you a very long way in the accounting field. It may seem like it's just full of numbers, like, oh, you just got to do, some math problems and that's it. But you need to be able to communicate what the issues are and be able to talk to clients and be able to say, hey, like, this isn't working. This is why, and this is what we think how we can solve it. Mm-hmm. So having those communication skills will take you a very long way, I think.
I agree. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What about you?
There's two things. So there's one, technology, how much technology has gone by. So a lot of people are now familiar with ChatGPT.
Yep.
They're using it in school.
Yep.
We also use it at work.
Yep.
So it's very new technology coming out, but it's changing how work is being done.
Yeah.
It's automating a lot of things. So it's more on, instead of the data, like entering data, you're more on high level thinking. Mm-hmm. So it's good to have an understanding, like a high level understanding.
Yeah.
And then also being a team player. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess not many people might know that being an accountant, and as you move up in your career, you're less on the actual work that you're doing and more on like focusing on how your team's doing, mentoring your team, being able to communicate, like you said.
Right.
And teach others what you've learned.
Yeah.
It's very important.
I love that. That's actually beautiful. Isaiah, what department are you in? What is your typical day of life in your department and what you do? And what is an interesting story or a problem you have to solve or anything that might have happened in the workplace, in the department, in the day of your life? Can you give us insight?
Yeah, so kind of to piggyback off again, I mean, every day is different. Like, I don't typically have the same day every day. I would say for me, I go and talk to clients a lot. I go out to client sites a lot. I would say this year I got put on a new client that's like far out west somewhere in the mountains, and I went out to the client, and pretty much what we had to do was to help them with auditing their financials, and I was doing the tax piece. And so what I did was pretty much we went, had conversations with clients, talked to them, asked them questions. They gave us their work papers, like their files. We go through the files and we see if we agree with the numbers that they have. We see if there's things that we could recommend them to do to make sure that it's more accurate. And then from there, we help calculate and make sure that the numbers that they're going to give to investors are, accurate. But I focus more on the tax piece of it. So in that example, I would say like problems that we have is like, let's say we do find something that, we don't agree with, then that's like a conversation that your managers have with the client, and you kind of figure out the next steps or what to do to solve those. Yeah. So it just kind of changes, and that's what I like about tax, is that things don't stay the same.
Yeah, great. That's a great answer. That's great feedback. I didn't know these things, so I know that the audience is going to be they're definitely intrigued by what you're saying, because it's lovely to hear insight, because like I think somebody might have mentioned earlier, when it comes to accounting, like you don't really know what comes with accounting until you get into it. So thank you for the insight.
Yeah, thank you.
So Isaiah, for the students that are looking to pursue accounting, what subjects would you give them advice or recommend for them to take in order for them to be better prepared when it comes to it?
I would say to be better prepared in school, I would say just focus in your accounting, like your accounting specific classes. I would say when you're in those classes, just make sure that you kind of like try to understand the topics, because I feel like a lot of the time when you're in school, you're trying to make it through the next test or just do the homework. But if you plan on majoring in accounting, it might be helpful to try to internalize some of the topics, just only because, in my day-to-day, I use some topics that I learned in college. Yeah. And it's kind of surprising, because you always hear, man, what you learn in school, you don't ever, it doesn't matter in the real world. But I've had instances on clients where just knowing basic debit and credit, first day stuff you learn accounting 101. Yeah. I've used that at my job. Yeah. So I think just focusing on your classes and making sure you do your best and try to get your accounting GPA specifically the best it can be, so you can also then be looked at for internships and stuff from, various firms.
Yeah, right. I love that. Isaiah, what elective courses can help students build skills that are important to accounting?
I would say for elective courses, this might be a little out there. I think you should take some elective courses that aren't related to accounting to help your skills in accounting. I feel like that gives you more of a perspective on a way to kind of think about things differently. And so, for example, like I took African American history back in college, nothing related to accounting, but I want to learn more about history, and I think that gives you a different perspective on things. And when you can do that, I also did like a supply chain, like study abroad elective. So I was able to study abroad somewhere, and I'm not even a supply chain major, but it's a different way to kind of think about things and see things from a different perspective.
So entrepreneurship is the new wave. For students that are looking to pursue entrepreneurship, what are some accounting skills that have helped businesses thrive? Or can you share how having accounting skills help businesses thrive?
It's like entrepreneurs. So as an entrepreneur, you want to make sure you understand your own business financials. You want to know if your business is doing well, the cost of a product. If you're selling a product, you want to make sure you're selling it at the right price, or you're breaking even, or you're at a loss. So it's good to have that accounting background degree, just to make sure the entrepreneur, as the owner of the company, you understand how your company's doing. You're not fully dependent on your accountant.
Yeah. Angela, what advice do you have for students who are looking to break into accounting with alternative majors?
I think now they're looking for more diverse backgrounds, right? It's okay if you don't go the traditional accounting route. Right. Depends on which team. There's some teams that are required, right? But there's a lot of opportunities that I feel like a lot of students don't know about that are available in an accounting firm. There might be a little bit niche, they're not as common, so that's why they might not hear about it. Right. But it's good to just dig a little deeper, research on, and like network. You'll see how many people that you'll meet and might not even be an accounting major. It's always assumed just because they're at an accounting firm.
Yeah.
Right.
So, Isaiah, there are a lot of students that may not want to go the traditional route when it comes to accounting. So are some strategies or any advice that you can give to students?
If you don't want to go the traditional way in accounting, since accounting is so broad, there are a lot of options. I would say the first thing that you would want to do is, since you're in school, your school probably has like a student resource. So go to the student resource and kind of talk to whoever you need to talk to within that area to kind of get a detailed list of like companies that are at your school. And then from there, what I would do is kind of work on your resume and stuff. And then from there, anytime that companies come to the school, try to sign up for any interview hours or try to talk to the different recruiters. And then there you can get a better idea of the different aspects that each company has. I think the best way to kind of figure that out, especially if you don't want to go the traditional route, but you don't know exactly which route, is to kind of put feelers out there and kind of just see kind of what you catch. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I talked to this recruiter, and they talked about these opportunities. So now you kind of have a list, an idea of like, okay, that sounds good, that doesn't sound good, and kind of work your way from there.
Were there any classes in high school that helped you in accounting? Because I know there's a lot of high schools that may not have that accounting class at their school. Right. What classes were those for you?
I would say in high school, if your high school has any type of business related course, whether it's marketing or like just an intro to business, something just basic, I would say try if you can to take that class just so you can kind of get your feet wet and kind of like learn a little bit about business. Mm-hmm. And then your professor or the teacher in the class might have resources or know other schools or other resources that might have more details about accounting or other related fields. Mm-hmm. But it's just kind of seeing if there's any opportunities that are related to the business world, like in high school.
Yeah, I love that. Can you guys share any resources or tools that you find helpful for accounting students that are interested in pursuing?
More resources. So I guess I'm very heavy on the technology side. Yeah. So like ChatGPT. Okay. I know a lot of people are doing that even outside of accounting. Yeah. Just let's see. There's a lot of like once you learn one software, all the other softwares will be a little bit similar.
Isaiah, do you have any tools or resources?
I would say kind of separate from that, if you're in high school, your resources would probably be that business teacher or who you can talk to, kind of get your feet wet and kind of like learn, okay, what are the different aspects? Yeah. Then from a college level standpoint, I would say going to the career services. Yes. They're going to have everything that you need to like talk to different companies, to do your resume, maybe mock interviews. Yeah. There's going to be a lot of different resources that you can use for that to kind of get an idea of like what type of jobs are out there, or like what type of things can I do in accounting, mm-hmm. or who do I need to talk to kind of learn a way to get an internship. So I would say the career services is probably your best bet within college. And then from there, going to like maybe your counselor if you have one, and talking to them and making sure that you get the right classes lined up for each semester. So
today was such a great episode. I'm so honored to be here with you guys. I'm so sad that it has to come to an end. So before it does have to come to an end, is there any advice, any final thoughts that you would like to leave to our audience, just to give them, one last piece of insight that you guys may have?
So I guess last piece of advice is just, I know we spoke very technical too, and like connections are very important. So last piece of advice is know that you're not alone in any step of the process. Yeah. Like companies don't expect you. Like these are recommendations that we mentioned, but they don't expect you to know anything coming in. Right. They're going to train you. Their education or investment into their people is huge with the companies. So just know that you're going to have someone holding your hand in the beginning. Right. And then from there, you can take charge of your own career, which pathway you want to go.
I love that. Right. I love that. What about you, Isaiah?
I would say at the end of the day, just kind of have fun. Like make it like just be open to learning, take opportunities, and just take opportunities that are smart. Like make sure that it aligns with what you think you want your future to be. Mm-hmm. But just enjoy it. Like enjoy the process. Like you said, like you're not expected to know everything. So with that, if you're not expected to know everything, like don't put all that pressure on yourself for like feeling like you don't know something.
Yeah.
Like it's part of the process. We all start from somewhere, and I would say just make sure you have fun when you're doing it.
Yeah, I love that. Like I said, I hate that it has to come to an end. I do. I really appreciate you guys. I learned a lot just being a host from you guys. I feel like you guys are very insightful. You guys are very exquisite. And I feel like when it came to the knowledge that you guys imparted, like not only did you impart it to the audience, but you imparted knowledge to me as well. For the students and for our audience, people that may be tuning in, can you guys plug in y'all's network and who y'all are and how can people stay in contact with you? Just so if they might want to actually reach out to you guys directly, they have that.
You can find me on LinkedIn. My name is Isaiah Bowie, so ISIAH and then BOWIE, and then from Kansas City area. So it should be easy to find after that.
Yeah, and I appreciate you being a host. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Really good.
Thank you.
I'm also on LinkedIn, Angela, ANGELA. My last name, COTUGNO.
But as we end our episode, I just want to give one last thank you to Accounting Plus for just being so amazing. We are so excited to kick off this podcast, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in to our very first episode. And we can't wait to see you in our next episode. And to jumpstart your career, visit us at joinaccountingplus.com.